Mr. Dean, you reviewed the enrollment figures, correct? In other words, part of enrollment and staffing, correct?
Enrollment figures in terms of our
Students, then the recruitment, the resignations, the hiring, correct? You're in charge of that?
I'm not in charge of the enrollment, Mr. Aliota.
Okay. In 2012, 10 years ago, how many students do we have in Millcreek Township?
I don't believe that's on the agenda item, Mr. Aliota.
Are you reporting the amount of individuals that are being hired, resigned, fired, et cetera? Do you? You just reported it, right?
Are you talking about the whole district? You want to know the whole district?
Yeah.
You want to know the number of administrators, the number of teachers? Yeah. No, I'm not reporting that, Mr. Aliota. We're approving a personnel report.
Well, yeah.
Specifically.
Can I make a recommendation? You see what the enrollment was in 2012. You look at the staffing. You look at the executive team members. You look at the cost of the salaries of the staff. And then you make a report to the board and also to the public.
Do you have a question about an agenda item?
I just asked you and you didn't respond.
You want to repeat your question that was not about
Question.
the agenda?
Do you know the enrollment of students in Millcreek in 2012 compared to today? And do you know the staffing level of the executive team, the staff, the teachers in 2012 and comparing it to the loss of the students in 2022?
No.
Fine, thank you.
Mr. Aliota, perhaps you missed that slide that Mr. O'Toole had on there. It showed the enrollment since 2000 and the amount of personnel and the two lines that cross. So I don't know if you saw that or missed that.
No.
It was in the presentation. So that might give you an insight of that. Okay.
Any other questions about an agenda item? Is there anybody online?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, with that, let's move on. 6.01, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn to have a second
Second, Kim.
discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Clicker, Mike?
Thank you. Okay, thanks. On to the committee of the whole meeting, Monday, February the 14th, 2022. Roll call.
Mr. Dean,
Here.
Ms. Philbeck. Here. Mr. Kobilka,
Here.
Mr. Lindner,
Here.
Ms. Lupacek,
Here.
Ms. McClintock,
Here.
Ms. Newsham,
Here.
Mr. Winchell,
Here.
Mrs. Winchell,
Here.
Dr. Roberts,
Here.
and Attorney Senate.
Here.
Thank you. 1.02 executive session announcement. An executive session was held February the 14th, 2022 for the purpose of personnel and safety and the Aliota Kabelka litigation against the Millcreek Township School District docket 10276-20. Item 1.03 approval of the agenda. I'd like to make a motion to amend this agenda by removing item 3.01 under the superintendent's report, which under the personnel report to remove the position of the HR coordinator. I'll put that in form of a motion. Can I have a second?
Second, Dean.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. That motion passed.
And should be treated with dignity and respect. On Tuesday, January 25th, the assistant principal at J.S. Wilson, Jada Best, met the 6th grade class in the cafeteria to punish them for bad behavior stemming from Friday's lunch on the 21st. After she was done punishing them, she dismissed them to the kitchen based on their second quarter grades. Row by row, all A's and B's were permitted to go first. Row by row, lunch packers were beginning to open their lunches and eat. Finally, children were acknowledged without all A's and B's were then allowed to go and get their lunches, row by row, leaving many students with 10 minutes to eat. Dr. Roberts apologized and defended her in the same email after I followed up 5 days later. I'll get all these email conversations to you guys also. He said that she incentivized them. I've only seen behavior like that done at award assemblies, not while children were being punished. Punished rightfully, they should be if they were acting up. That's not what I'm mad about. She went in with intent to publicly shame them by segregating them. I'd like to add that Dr. Roberts is the only one to defend her after I shared this story with numerous people. Those children deserve an apology, not me. And there's a huge list of reasons why some of these students may haven't performed well in the second quarter. Shutdowns, back-to-back days of bomb threats at the J.S. Wilson's middle school, close contact quarantines. My daughter missed a lot of school due to your COVID policies, and it definitely affected her performance. She thrives in the school atmosphere with teachers and her peers. She missed 3 days from the bomb threats, many virtual assignments with her Chromebook at home, and she was sent home on her bus with a close contact note that she couldn't come to school. Seems counterproductive to send her home on a packed school bus to quarantine instead of calling a parent to come pick her up. I don't know who wrote that plan. COVID at school, but not on the school bus. Not all students are A and B students, and a good educator knows that. Some children have learning disabilities, social anxieties, and problems no one will ever know about. Publicly shaming them for punishment is bullying, and I'm pretty sure MTSD and its rule book has a strict policy against that. I'd like to touch base on the mask while I'm here. We attended a basketball game 2.5 weeks ago. Masks were required upon entry. I mean, the signs hang everywhere. But once we entered the gym, about 95% were unmasked, and there was zero enforcement. So if the signs are up, you're complying and receiving funding. So all this proves that it is about the funding. You all must think we're really dumb. You know that saying, money is the root of all evil? Well, this could not be more true in this case. Because what you are continuing to do is evil, and it's all for money. Masks are filthy. My friend's daughter had nasal passage surgery last year from wearing them. Her doctor told them clearly that the nose produces the second most bacteria that exits the body through a direct opening, second to the anus. I don't know about any of you, but I find that repulsive. How many more times does the Supreme Court have to overrule this for you to realize that all you're doing is abusing your power and you have no right? In closing, school districts all over the state of Pennsylvania are moving to masks optional, including our backyard neighbors here at Fort LaBeouf, who I might add were recognized last year by the Biden administration for the way they handled COVID. Thank you for your time and sitting here and listening. Happy Valentine's Day. And please, end this nonsense now. Don't wait any longer.
Thank you. Next 5-minute speaker is Troy Prozan.
Troy, are you there?
You're on mute, Troy. Okay, we'll circle back with Troy. Next 5-minute speaker is Jessica DeLoretto. Yeah, 5 minutes.
I've had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Roberts, and I just want to say thank you again for meeting with me. It was really nice to have that communication one-on-one rather than here in the board meeting setting or through email. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I look forward to meeting many more times. But after the meeting and then today, I really feel like, again, we're not being heard. I've spoken at many board meetings and I email the board regularly. So you guys all see the studies that I provide and see everything that I have to give you. You know what I'm here to say, but I'm going to say it again anyways, hoping that my voice will again be heard and the voice of many in the district. We need to go to parental choice immediately tonight. We cannot wait. Let the kids go to school tomorrow with that choice, a choice for masks, but also for contact tracing, quarantining as well, unless you're actually sick. I understand that that might not be able to happen tonight. Let that go towards your study. Put that into your study. Don't wait for masks. Also, when a kid is healthy again, let them come back to school. There shouldn't be a time limit that they have to stay home. Parents need that choice to send their kid without a mask. Other parents can send a cloth mask, surgical mask, or N95 mask if they want to, but we should have the choice to send our child without a mask, and not at the end of the month, immediately. School districts all over the county and state are doing this and reporting no issues. Tonight, there were even many. You know this. We have been telling you this. We send you this information. We have maps, we have lists, everything that we send you. A transition period should have been done. This has been going on for 2 years. There is no need to wait another 15 days to figure out what is the best option going forward. We don't need that. It's been done. We should know. Let's not drag it out any longer. This is not about the health and safety anymore. It's not about pro or anti anything. It's about parents being able to make the decisions about what is best for our children. This is dividing our district as it has divided our country. Our children need and deserve a healthy environment to learn, because we are sending them to school to learn and not be part of political division. Let's do what is best for our children and show them how to come together and be one amazing district again. The way to do that is to give us back our freedom of choice. Allow us to be our children's voice again now, not in 2 weeks, because we know it is best for them. COVID needs to be put behind us so we can move forward as a district. That's the only way to move forward. The plan presented is just a baby step forward, and after 2 years, we should be making giant leaps. I want to be able to work with the board on positive things in the district. I have heard concern about bullying. A kid is going to bully regardless of what it is. Mask, no mask. I've been bullied for not wearing a mask, so it goes both ways. We can't say bullying one way or the other. But parents need to teach their children about respect. I have taught my children to be respectful of other people's choices. Don't even question their choices. If they choose to wear a mask, that's their choice and their choice alone, and it has nothing to do with you. It doesn't affect you. As my choice to send my child to school without a mask should not affect other people. Finally, it's not these kids' jobs to make others feel safe. They are children. They should not be told to wear a mask to make others feel safe, or that wearing a mask means that you care for others, especially when they are healthy. They should be in school having real interaction with teachers, administration, and classmates, and having real gym classes and real recesses and real lunches in the lunchroom. The masks, social distancing, and buffer zones have kept our children from friends, have disrupted critical years of important socialization skills and communication development that we will never get back. This has gone on long enough and can never happen again. We need to remove masks immediately and never move back to them again. And also, I feel like possibly I'm a very empathetic person, and I care about all those kids that have died from COVID or that get sick from it. But listening to the presentation, the one presented about gaggle, and I just searched to see what it was. And I open up their page and it says, the state of student mental health and safety is the #2 cause of death for 10 to 19-year-olds is suicide. 1 in 6 teens has seriously considered suicide. 70% of teens see anxiety and depression as a major problem among their peers. What is gaggle seeing? Increases reflect incidence rates per 10,000 students compared to the 2019-2020 school year to the 2020-21 school year. There was an 87% increase in suicide and self-harm, 104% increase in violence towards others.
Yes, we blocked it.
151% increase
We
in
got the
nudity
ball.
and sexual content, 134 increase in drug and alcohol. What is the difference between those 2 years?
Watching the Bulls game.
COVID. Let's put it behind us and move forward. Get these kids' mental health back where it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Next speaker for 5 minutes is Kelly Gill. Kelly, you're on.
Just as we were sitting here tonight, 3 school districts went parent choice for masking. They're Fairview, Corey, and Girard, just so everybody knows. I come to you today quite different than I have in previous meetings. This time I come to you, give you an opportunity to rectify the wrongs that you have done over the last 2 years to our children and to your staff. As I've stated before, you have been following bad advice, not just locally, but from the top. You have been misled by Governor Wolf, the Pennsylvania Department of Health, the Pennsylvania Department of Education, former County Executive Dahlkemper, and former County Department of Health Director Melissa Lyons. Tonight, I'm here to put you on notice of an intent to file a claim against your commercial general liability policy with your insurer, Utica National, for all the unlawful, illegal, abusive, and discriminatory mandates that have been forced upon students, my children, and staff. I'm giving you a lifeline tonight by giving you the chance to opt out and change your health and safety plan going forward. If my demands have not been met in 72 hours, I will file against your policy. You might not realize this yet, but the entire board and district is personally liable for a predetermined amount stated in your policy for damages per claim. In your policy, each occurrence is one claim filed against your policy. Each occurrence carries a predetermined deductible that you have to pay to the insurance company before covering the rest of the damages. I am not only one parent willing to do this. If the demands are not met, there will be many more to come. 10, 20, 50, or 100 claims could subsequently be filed. I am here letting you know that you have been in violation of multiple state, federal, and international laws, and I have outlined all of these in the 15-page document I gave to each of you. I do not want to see any of this happen to you, but I don't want you to take the fall for those who have led you to make these decisions. This can be fixed, and it can be fixed today. First of all, the ones who voted yes on the most recent health and safety plan are in direct violation of your oaths of office, which I also hold. You swore to uphold the Constitution of Pennsylvania and the Constitution of the United States of America, and you have failed at doing both. Violations of oath of office hold a $250,000 penalty, and denied provisions of the Constitution also hold a $250,000 penalty. You're in direct violation of the Supreme Court ruling in Pennsylvania on masking. We have given you the newest lawsuit filed by our attorney, Chadwick Schnee, as well. This lawsuit seeks declaratory judgment that schools do not have the legal authority to require masks. Some of the violations that you have committed include, but are not limited to, practicing medicine without a license, criminal conspiracy, interference with civil rights and deprivation of rights, mandating of non-FDA approved masks, PCR testing and vaccines under EUA, Child Endangerment Act, Declaration of Human Rights, Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the Individuals with Disabilities Act, violations of color of law, Geneva Declaration of Rights of the Child, and most notably the Nuremberg Code. You have 72 hours upon receipt of this notice to correct these violations. End mandatory masking and move to parent choice. Contact tracing must move to a non-discriminatory manner. Quarantine is to be used only for those who have tested positive for COVID-19 virus, and it is recommended and not enforced by the local Department of Health. And any COVID-19 testing that is without express consent of the student, parent, guardian, or staff without coercion. This means students will not be limited or excluded from any sports activities attending school if they decide not to take a COVID-19 test. Stop all forms of COVID-19 propaganda on school grounds, whether it be through verbal speech by staff and or administrators, signage throughout the building, and or advertising of COVID-19 in any aspect of the building. End all vaccine clinics on school grounds. And all discriminatory treatment on unvaccinated students and staff as it pertains to masking, quarantining, contact tracing, and COVID-19 testing requirements. Destroy any and all databases, files, paper trails of COVID-19 vaccination status on students and staff. It will no longer be needed based upon the requirements mentioned above. Holding on to these could lead to the continued discrimination of students and staff. Again, this is all to help you get out of a situation which may hold you personally liable. I hope you take this seriously and vote to end the COVID-19 mandates, specifically masking tonight. Thank you.
Good job.
Next speaker, let's circle back with Troy Prozan. Troy, are you, I see that you're on, like to speak.
Yeah. So
Hey,
I
Troy.
just wanted to.
Yeah, 5 minutes, Troy.
Yep. Okay. So, we knew this day was coming. I know that a lot of you guys thought we were bluffing, especially the solicitor, which is why the lawsuit was filed in the Commonwealth against every school district in Pennsylvania and the Department of Education. Earlier in the meeting, I had asked Attorney Senate about the public school code, which we know that the General Assembly writes the code, passes the law for the school districts. Well, what's interesting is that in September, not only did I see the interview, but I saw the quotes by Governor Wolf. He had asked the General Assembly to pass a bill which would require masking in schools, which of course they rejected. So if it was already in law, why would the governor ask the General Assembly to pass the bill to require masking in schools if it already existed? You guys have got bad legal advice from Solicitor Senate at the end of the day. And your first priority should be to get rid of them. I mean, we have a guy that's representing our school district that was, I quote, saying, looking at the test scores, I don't think your students can read a newspaper. Do we really want this guy representing us? He clearly doesn't care about the kids. And I don't understand why nobody on this board challenged him. He's been wrong since day one. He said that Governor Wolf and Allison Beam's mandate was legal. Well, the Supreme Court, they disagree. And then I'd just like to touch on one other thing. Back on January 24th, Dr. Roberts had cited, well, I'll just read a couple quotes about the vitriol attacks against the teachers and staff. And he had cited an email that he had received. And he had stated that, so I had sent him an email on January 18th. And in his dialogue on the 24th, he said that 24 hours prior to the email, he received a phone call and someone told him to go to hell. Well, what I find interesting is the district was closed on the 17th, which would have been 24 hours prior to me sending the email. And under the right to know that was filed, he tried to tie the phone call into the email that I sent, which if you read the context of the email, it wasn't even anything that he had said. So I don't know. I really don't know what's happening here, but the district is failing. And I know that at the end of every board meeting, someone likes to, have some quotes. So I have one. Selfish people often mistake selfishness for strength. It takes no talent, no intelligence, no self-control, and no effort to sacrifice other people for your ego. And by the way, Mr. Dean, you shouldn't worry about the way Lou wears his mask, because I've seen most of you guys out in public mask free. I mean, what? You only scared of COVID in schools around kids? What you really should be worried about is the fact that you sold our kids out for money. That's what you should be worried about, Mr. Dean. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Troy. As a reminder, please address the board and the administration in the holistic and not individual. Thank you. Okay. Next speaker is, for 5 minutes, is Kelly Berzik. Kelly, I see you're online. Can you hear us? Okay,
Good
Kelly.
evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, 5 minutes, Kelly.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Millcreek Township School District community. And wow, kudos to everyone for still being there at almost 10:30. My name is Kelly Berzik. I am the academic interventionist at McDowell Intermediate High School. I am here this evening representing the Millcreek Education Association, where I proudly serve as the secretary of our teachers union. On behalf of the MEA, we feel it necessary to share a message of gratitude to the board for their eagerness and dedication to meet with our teachers over the past 2 months. As of last Monday, our board members have traveled to our 5 elementary schools, our 3 middle schools, our 2 high schools, and on to Ridgefield to see our teachers serving the Sarah Reed programs. These visits, requested by the board, were welcomed by each group of teachers. The MEA leadership received feedback that was well beyond outstanding. You were able to see us. The morning meetings allowed the board to see how eager our teachers are to get started with a day of learning and fun with our students. The afternoon meetings allowed the board to see how tired our teachers are at the end of a day of that learning and fun with our students. You were able to hear us. Our teachers across all levels spoke with you about topics such as student discipline and behavior, school safety, professional development, and the rollout of educational initiatives such as school-wide testing and the curriculum and resources for both online and in-person learning. And finally, you heard about the need for more time, which everyone in this room and the online forum knows we will never have enough of. For almost 2 years now, our jobs have been transformed in so many ways. We as teachers have done our best to be resilient, flexible, helpful, and supportive, but we are still so often exhausted, frustrated, disheartened, and overwhelmed. So thank you for giving us your precious time, your listening ears, words of appreciation and encouragement, as well as thoughts moving forward. A few years ago, the relationship between the board and the MEA was frail. Through the dedication of both parties, we will continue to cultivate a stronger understanding of each other's roles and goals. The MEA looks forward to the continued partnership through meetings such as these and our board liaison team. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime. We greatly appreciate all that you do for our students, staff, teachers, and community. Thank you very much, and happy Valentine's Day to all.
Thank you, Kelly. Next 5-minute speaker is Danielle Strong. Okay, next 5 minutes is Amy Stevens.
Hi again. So first, kudos to those 3 districts tonight. That's awesome. Way to go. I just want to say, let's honor parents' choice for masking. It's happening all over Pennsylvania, the country, and apparently now in Erie County. You guys know that. It's time. It's encouraging that you guys are finally, there's a recommendation to consider parent choice. But I'd like to see the scientific information indicating why 2% is the magic percentage recommended for school-to-go parent choice. Please let these kids go back to normalcy. It's time. Let's respect everyone's choice. Thank you.
Okay, last 5-minute speaker is Mr. Aliota. Five minutes, Lou.
Good evening, board, administration, students, parents, and taxpayers. I wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day to all, and especially to the parents and our children and our grandchildren. May God bless them. I'm sure that all the school board directors have received my emails, except the Kimberly. She's the only one I think I did not send it to. I hope you're reading it, because there's some vital information in there. Do you know what a surcharge is? I don't think so. 75,000 people attended the Super Bowl yesterday. How many masks did you see? I believe it's been irresponsible by this board, the previous board, for the past 2 years to treat our children and our grandchildren the way you have done. Are you violating any public school codes? lately or in the past 3 or 4 years? I don't know. Asking the school board directors, asking the superintendent, past and the present. Where is the district policy and who interprets the policy? Is it you, school board directors? Is it Dr. Roberts? Is it Mr. Senate, the solicitor? Who is and has the authority to conduct all board meetings? And does the solicitor have to be asked to answer questions or make comments to the public? These are just general questions that I'm throwing out there. We have 2 attorneys in the room. Mr. Senate and Ms. McClintock. I have great difficulty, I really do, when I see parents cry about how their children and also grandchildren are being treated. What happens with a child when they are bullied? Who is the example for that child bullying other children? Leadership. Is that leadership? No, that's not leadership. If you got a pencil and paper, well, you want to wait until you listen to the school board meeting again. Take this, case number 008-27335. It's from Fox News. They just sent me a note. We will be reaching out to you shortly. I would suggest, and again, everything is coming out slowly, but it's coming out. The deception that we have in our government. I would suggest the school board directors read school board meeting, Tuesday, March 29th, 2016. I think I attached it to your email. Dr. Roberts, I would still appreciate a meeting with you on some various topics. Since your initial contact with me on November 20th, 2020, over 15 months ago. Finished?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay. I don't see Danielle back. We have a few 3-minute speakers. I know one is here, so Rebecca Liddell. Rebecca, you have 3 minutes. State your topic.
I just have a couple, just the first one is the condemnation of harassment. It kind of bothered me that Dr. Roberts was receiving some harassing emails, and last summer someone had obtained my home address and had come and not personally, but had sent us some harassment material in the mail. So I want to make that statement in saying that harassment on either side of the aisle is inappropriate and should not be done. I did not appreciate what had happened to me, didn't appreciate what had happened to him. I just wanted to, I've been working on a project. It's a Google map, and it maps out all the Pennsylvania school districts that are mask optional. We are up to 229. We have personally either verified or had parents in the district tell us that these districts are mask optional. And it went up again tonight. So that's some very good news and very encouraging, I think, for this board going forward when you're ready to go through the study session, which should be held very soon. The last thing I just wanted to touch on was that this is important work, continuing this localism, having these local school boards. I know it is frustrating for a lot of us, but at the same time, we need our school boards. We need this local activism. I know that, I can't afford to go to Harrisburg or Washington anytime that I need something done, that I want something done, that I want to speak about. So continuing this local activation for us to have these conversations in our backyards is, again, very important. And as many differences as that we have, this is something that I will continue to fight for. Thank you.
A couple of these had spoken, but they did sign up for 3 minutes. Rebecca Howard, I do not see her on. Okay, Alyssa McCullum. Okay, I do not see her. And last one is Robin Broder. Robin here? Yeah, 3 minutes, Robin. State your topic.
The topic is the health and safety plan. I am a Millcreek parent whose children are in kindergarten and 2nd grade. I made the choice late last summer to pull both my kids and enroll them in what's turned out to be an amazing cyber school for them. Even though I haven't been present in a lot of the board meetings since then, I've been watching and listening to how the board has been handling the school year with COVID and masks, especially after the Supreme Court decision last month. I'm glad that you guys are revisiting the health and safety plan, but I feel it's not enough. When you choose over the last almost 2 years now to ignore parents who view masks as abuse or whose children have suffered emotionally and psychologically, but you'd rather listen to data from a government agency that has been wishy-washy on everything for the past 2 years, that's wrong. Every parent has a right to determine their own child's health and safety, period. It's time to take your talons completely out of our children and let us decide how our kids should live freely in school. They are not the ones at high risk, so why are you making them the ones to have to pay the price? Thank you.
Thank you. Sir? Please state your name and address and topic, please.
My name is Keith Canfield, West 33rd. It's becoming very difficult not to sound repetitive in the sense of reciting data, studies, grievances, Pennsylvania state law as it applies to the public school system in our speeches to the board. It's rather redundant, so I'll try not to. We've been very clear. We've made the case for the illegality of your masking policies in this district. We've also done it without throwing frozen water bottles, jumping on the hoods of cars and threatening people, setting buildings on fire. If factual data on COVID hospitalizations and deaths for children in the K through 12 range over the past 2 years have shown even remotely moderate numbers in cases, most parents would have found a way to pull their students from in-person learning immediately. It hasn't. Same goes for your sweeping mask mandates. As far as mask efficacy preventing spread among students and staff, we would have, as parents, chosen to mask our children. But anybody paying attention to their children know the real threat was the repercussions of the masking. When weighed against the benefits to COVID prevention in these age groups, the scale was tipped on the side of mental and physical health repercussions. That is an undeniable fact. You handcuffed every parent in your district by taking away parental choice, a move that you have no authority to do. On top of this, some of you have made the point to portray the parents speaking out against your decisions as uncooperative, selfish, divisive, ignorant, and even childish. which is odd given that a common issue with teachers that teachers see over and over again is the lack of parental involvement in their students' schooling. Well, here we are. We're involved. If we didn't act on this, what will be the next overreaching decision this board will make in the future? And as of tonight, you have the nerve to ask us to be patient? What's another 2 weeks? Another 15 days? Remember that? Remember 15 days? Where have we heard that one before? Another 15 days.
Okay, is there any other speakers? We're past the 30 minutes. Is there any other speaker who'd like to speak about anything else? Any other topic in mass safety, health and safety, bullying, any other topic?
What is your name? You weren't signed up, you can come and speak. We don't sign
Come on.
people up for 3 minutes.
Let's go.
only for 5.
Sure.
So I'm Aslan Slauson. I'm just gonna make this real quick and simple. I have tried to figure out why you guys are doing what you're doing. I mean, I know you. I mean, I had you in 5th grade. I mean, you were my favorite math teacher ever. You had my son. I mean, you guys are not bad people. So what? I just cannot figure it out. I will say this. And Dr. Roberts, I don't know you, but from what I could tell, I liked you. I thought you were going to be great for our district. I thought you were going to bring in, something new. And then I started to look into things a little bit more. And, I know what you're a part of. And I know what you're pushing on this district, and it's wrong. And if you guys can't figure that out, or if you're a part of that, then you guys are wrong. And I can't tell, are you guys really, you don't know what he's about? Is this correct? You guys are very smart people. I'll just leave you with that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to item 3.01, the superintendent report, the personnel board.
The superintendent's report, item 3.01, I presume is the report that was approved, pushed forward from the committee meeting for the board's action.
With the amendment. That's correct. Okay, can I have a motion to accept the superintendent's report, personnel report with the amended personnel report?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Passes. Item 4, solicitor report.
Yes, would like to take 4.01, which is the Montessori Regional Charter School resolution, and 4.02, which is the actual amendment to the charter. That's all one group. You approve the resolution, you're approving the charter. So that's all it needs to take. Just a little history. The Montessori Regional Charter School was approved as a charter back in 2018. At that time, they operated at 2 different locations at 2910 Startanian Road and then 606 Raspberry Street in the city of Erie. The charter is approved by both the Millcreek Township School District and the Erie School District at that time. In 2018, they asked for their first amendment to the charter, which would move the charter from those 2 locations to its new location on West 26th Street. In 2019, both school districts approved that amendment to that charter, allowing documentation. At that time, they advised us that they intended to add on to the charter the 7th and 8th grade. And a procedure was put in place as part of the approval of the amendment for a subsequent amendment or a subsequent request for adding those 2 grades. And that procedure was that they had to notify the district within a specific time period, and then also provide a list of documentation to support their change in their charter to allow the 7th and 8th grade to be added to the school. They did submit their request for a second amendment to the charter on a timely basis. We responded by indicating you now have an obligation by November 30th of last year to produce a series of documents supporting that amendment. They then did produce those documents on a timely basis, which have been reviewed by both the school district subsidiary and the Millcreek School District spoke. That list of documentation included the complete curriculum for the 7th and 8th grade, a copy of educational reports for ELA, math, science curriculum, identifying the process of any accompanying rubrics or checklists used to identify the adopted curriculum, the Board of Trustees resolution approving the curriculum, an impact on the staffing needs, an impact on the professional development needs, the proposed daily schedule for both 7th and 8th grade, the identification of technology upgrades required for those additional grades, identification of a plan for secondary transition services with students with IEPs, identification of changes to the student code of conduct, identification of any changes to extracurricular activities, and then finally a map showing how the grades would be laid out within the school. They have produced all that documentation except the map, which they have not been able to produce yet because they don't really know how the school is going to be configured, including the 7th and 8th grade. So if you looked at the charter, the second amendment to the charter, it would approve the addition of 7th and 8th grade, but contingent upon receiving the map once they have. So the school district of the city of Erie has already reviewed this and already approved the resolution and the second amendment that would allow the 7th and 8th grade. One important point about the amended charter is that there is a cap on their population, an enrollment cap of 650 students. The same cap that was approved as part of the first amendment. So that hasn't changed in the cap. Even though they're adding 2 grades, there's still the cap, 650. So I know that's a lot of history, but just wanted to give you the full picture, seeking approval of both the.
Yes, so can I have a motion for 4.01 and 4.02 for the Montessori Regional Charter School education and the school second amendment?
Make a motion.
Have a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yes, President Winchell. For the record, I want to confirm that the Montessori is located on West 8th Street at the former villa, not on West 26th Street, which Attorney Senate had said he stumbled there a little bit, but it is on West 8th Street. That's what we're talking about.
I'm sorry, that's correct. It's 2549.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion?
One other, just general comment. I know it's late, but I'm assuming Mr. O'Toole has factored this into the projected 22-23 budget that we could theoretically see additional students in charter-based schools.
Yes, I did.
That's why we have the jump to 850.
Aaron, how many students do we currently have at the Montessori school?